What's up guys, Jason Julius here, and in this video, I want to talk to you about how to find and stimulate the A spot. Now, to be honest with you, the A spot is my absolute favorite spot for giving women full body explosive vaginal orgasms. I know we talk about the G spot a lot on this channel, and the G spot is absolutely amazing. It's one of the best ways to give her a vaginal orgasm or even a squirting orgasm. But in my experience working with thousands of men and women over the last 18 years, I found that most women respond better to either G spot stimulation or A spot stimulation, usually one or the other, sometimes both, but I would say more women are actually responsive to A spot stimulation than they are to G spot stimulation. And you can give her a squirting orgasm from A spot stimulation as well. The problem is most guys have no idea where it is, or worse, they try to find it and they end up poking the cervix. She feels pain and the whole thing gets uncomfortable for her. So today we're going to fix that. I'm going to show you exactly where this spot is. I call it the rim. And I'm going to show you the difference between the front rim and the back rim and why hitting the back rim can trigger the deepest orgasms of her life. And then I'm going to share the one secret frequency shift that you need to make, because you can have the perfect map, but if she can't surrender to your touch, the orgasm won't happen. So let's map this out. Technically, the A spot is called the vaginal fornix. Now, picture the vaginal canal, and at the very end, deep inside you have the cervix. Now, the cervix feels round and firm, almost exactly like the tip of your nose. Now, here's rule number one. Do not poke the nose. If you push directly on the cervix, it usually feels like a dull ache or a cramp for her, and that's a mood killer. You want to avoid that hard center. If you lightly bump it while you're down there, don't sweat it, but don't stay there. Now, the A spot isn't the nose itself. It is the soft rim that goes all the way around the cervix. Think of the cervix like the center of a Frisbee, and the A spot is the soft rubber rim that wraps around the edge. Now, the cervix is usually tilted. That means you have the front of the A spot, we'll call it the front rim, on the roof side when she's laying on her back, which is a bit easier to get to. And you have the back of the A spot, which we'll call the back rim, on the floor side, which sits a little bit deeper. Both of these spots are packed with nerve endings that trigger deep orgasmic contractions. And if you stimulate the rim directly without hitting the cervix, you trigger the release right at the source. So how do we hit the front rim? This is the part of the A spot on the roof side of the canal, right above the cervix. The best position for this is to have her lie on her back and you are facing her. And I want you to use your middle finger. Why? Because your middle finger is the longest finger. And when you're talking about the A spot, we need every inch of depth that we can get. You're going to slide your middle finger inside of her, palm up, go past the rough texture of the G spot, keep going until you feel that round, firm nose of the cervix. Now gently slide your finger up until you slip into that soft pocket right in front of it. Once you're in that pocket, you can use the come here motion that we use for the G spot. That can be a great place to start. I'm talking about firm pressure and pulling that spot towards you. However, another method to try is using a windshield wiper motion. Imagine you're tracing the top rim of that Frisbee. You're wiping left and right from about 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. You're applying firm, consistent pressure against that rim. You aren't poking it. You're stimulating the nerves that run along that ridge. Now that's the front rim. And for a lot of women, that feels incredible and can be the most consistent way to give her a vaginal orgasm. But if you want to trigger the deepest orgasms that she's ever had, the ones that feel like they're coming from the center of her soul, then we need to hit the back rim. This is the part of the A spot that sits behind or under the cervix. And because of the way the cervix tilts, the spot is actually deeper and harder to reach than the front part is. So for this one, I want you to put a pillow or wedge underneath her butt to tilt her pelvis up. You know, this changes the angle of the canal and allows you to go much deeper behind the cervix without hitting it. This time you're going to enter her with your middle finger, palm facing down. Slide your middle finger in as deep as you can. This time you're going to slide under the nose of the cervix. You're going to get in that deep pocket on the floor of the canal. Now, once you are there, you're going to use a strong come here motion. You're gliding your finger down on the back wall and pulling towards yourself, applying pressure to that back wall. And here is a fun fact that will help you understand her body even more. That back wall of the A spot, that's the wall shared with the rectum. So when women say they love anal play because it feels deep, it's because it is stimulating that exact spot only through the thin membrane that separates the anal canal from the vaginal canal. So when you hit this back rim with that strong rhythmic come here pressure, you're triggering the deepest nerves in her pelvis. Now, when it comes to stimulating either the front or back of the A spot, inevitably I get asked this question from guys. What if my fingers are not long enough? And that's a great question. Each woman is different, and the vaginal canal can expand when she's highly aroused. So you may not be able to get perfectly back to that rim, and that's actually okay. If you find that you can't quite get to the rim of the A spot, I want you to get as close as you possibly can and just pull down on the front wall or back wall as close to the rim as possible. What I've found is you can give her just as much stimulation indirectly by stimulating the tissue just under the rim. So don't get caught up if you can't get all the way there. I have medium-sized fingers, and sometimes I get there and sometimes I don't, but I always get her there. And it's not just because of physical techniques, it's because I am always aware of the most important part of the equation, her mental state. Now listen closely, because if you miss this next part, the techniques I just taught you simply will not work. You can memorize the map of the rim. You can find the perfect angle behind the cervix. You can use the perfect pressure, but you cannot mechanically force a vaginal orgasm. If you treat this spot like a button you're trying to push just to get a result, she's going to feel it. She's going to clamp down and you're going to hit a wall. Why? Because a vaginal orgasm isn't just a physical reflex, it's a state of total surrender. Biologically, for a woman to have this kind of deep release, her brain actually has to switch gears. She has to shift out of beta waves, which is a normal waking state, her thinking mind, her to-do list, her anxiety, her control, and she has to drop into alpha waves. Alpha is that deep trance-like state of flow. It's where she stops doing and starts being. It's where the mind turns off and the body takes over. However, she cannot drop into alpha if she is having to worry about you. If she feels you overthinking, or if she feels you checking to see if it's working, or if she feels that you're performing just to get validation, she stays stuck in beta. She stays stuck in her head managing your emotions. She needs permission to surrender. And the only way she gives herself that permission is if you go there first. You are the mirror. If you're stuck in your head, she stays in hers. If you embody the energy of presence and leadership, she mirrors you and drops in. So how do you create that permission? To unlock that alpha brainwave state for her, you need to create a container built on 3 specific energies. First, you need to make her feel safe. This is the foundation. You need to be the solid ground that she can collapse into. If you're rushing for the finish line because you need the ego boost of giving her an orgasm, the container feels leaky. She can feel your anxiety. You need to slow down. You need to breathe deep into your belly. You need to be the mountain. Being the mountain is a huge part of sexual polarity, and it's essential for the trust and respect needed to get her to surrender. And part of that safety is your authenticity. You have to be uninhibited. You can't hide behind your desire or try to be a polite, nice guy. When you are fully authentic, when you aren't hiding anything, she knows she doesn't have to guess your intentions. That clarity allows her nervous system to turn off the alarm bells and actually trust you. Second, you need to make her feel seen. This is about connection. You aren't just rubbing a spot inside of her, you're connecting with her. Feel the heat inside of her. Notice the tiny micro movements of her hips. Witness her pleasure without judging it or trying to fix it. When she feels deeply seen by you, when she feels your presence, her mind turns off. She stops performing for you and she starts feeling for herself. And finally, you need to make her feel stirred. This is where you bring the leadership. You need to show her that you're confident enough to guide her into the deep water. You aren't asking for permission, you're setting the direction. When she respects your direction and when she trusts your strength, her body instinctively knows, I can let go now. He's got this. So there you have it. Master the front rim with either the come here or wiper motion while she's on her back, and master the back rim with the come here motion while her hips are tilted up. And if she's adventurous, you can hit the back rim through anal stimulation as well. But remember, these techniques are just the map. Your presence is the fuel. When you combine that alpha brain wave state of surrender, which is what we call orgasmic state, with the physical stimulation of the rim, that's when the walls come down. That's when full body releases happen. Now, as I mentioned, some women respond better to G-spot stimulation and others respond better to A-spot stimulation. If you want to see how to stimulate her G-spot, I have an educational video over on my blog where I show you exactly how to do that. And we cover squirting orgasms as well, which are a full body release that will really blow her mind. And you can watch that training for free at jasonjulius.com/squirt. And I'll put the link in the description. So be sure to test the G-spot and A-spot and see which one she responds to best. And hey, if you like this video, make sure that you hit the thumbs up button because it really helps out the channel. And make sure that you're subscribed because we have a lot more awesome content coming up about mastering your energy and everything about your bedroom life. And leave me a comment below if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next video.